No, I'm an Arizona Cardinal. I've done nothing but give my all to the Cardinals. I will continue to do that. So I'm not really too worried about my future as a Cardinal.
That scrubbing of the Instagram account on purpose, or how did that happen?
No, that was like I said, that was. If you're a kid my age, you're used to people take off all that. That's just a thing. And honestly, like I said, I took everything off besides one picture, so it had nothing to do with the Cardinals or anything like that.
Kyler Murray finally breaking his silence yesterday. Had nothing to do with the Cardinals, and I removed everything related to the Cardinals from my social media page. That's what kids my age do. Peter, kids that age use social media to send messages. And I'm a big Kyler Murray fan, and he's very reticent. He's very shy. He's not wired to be out there. I'm sure he was extremely uncomfortable having the microphones in his face. But what's he going to say in that spot? I'm upset that they won't give me the contract that I want. I'm upset because they're being cheap, that they don't value me. I'm upset that somebody was leaking to Chris Mortensen of ESPN negative assessments of my character, that I'm immature, that I'm selfish, that I'm a finger pointer, that I'm upset by how this has gone. And if it doesn't change, I'm going to want to be one of these guys who is playing somewhere else. He's not going to say any of that. You can't say any of that publicly. He said what he had to say. He's done what he's had to do. And I know enough about what's going on behind the scenes. This isn't getting any better. And all this stuff we're seeing with Russell Wilson getting traded, Devontae Adams getting traded, Tyreek Hill getting traded, the NFL being turned into the NBA because of the Rams' mentality. It's not going to make Kyler Murray less inclined to try to get out of Arizona if they're not going to give him the contract he wants, period.
And, Mike, what you say about this is not getting better, it isn't getting better. And, as I watched free agency happen, particularly with Chandler Jones, Christian Kirk, the Cardinals basically did business with a couple of veteran players on offense, right, with James Conner and with Zach Ertz, that I would say those are good signings to have. But the one thing the Cardinals really don't do very often is reach, and they did it with DeAndre Hopkins, obviously. But the one thing they don't do very often is step out there and spend a lot of money specifically on the guys who they have basically developed, drafted and developed. And that is what, in my opinion, and Chandler Jones is not a draft and develop guy, but he's a great example of a lot of the guys that the Cardinals haven't signed, which is that you get a guy on your team, you get a guy in your organization, and he achieves. And then when he's got to be paid at or near the top of the market, he goes away. And so that is the kind of thing that I believe that guys like Kyler Murray, at some point, you get a little bit tired of seeing. So we'll see how it plays out. But my feeling is that, and I said this, Mike, I talked about it on the show the last time we talked about Kyler Murray. I don't think Kyler Murray is going to play football this year for $5.5 million, which is what he's owed on his contract in year 3. I don't think it's going to happen. I might be wrong. Funny things happen when you get close to a deadline and you have to either fish or cut bait. I get it. But as of right now, I think there would be, I don't think he's going to play on that contract this year.
I think it starts with the offseason program, and he won't be there. He just won't be there. And it will continue, and we'll focus on the mandatory minicamp, and it's a $100,000 fine if you're under contract and you stay away from it, and he won't be there. And then it continues right up until training camp. Will he show up? And look, people will say he's got a contract. He needs to show up. Well, there's 2 contracts. His contract with the team and the player's contract with the league. And that broader CBA gives a player the right to withhold services in an effort to apply leverage. And that's what this is all about. And, Peter, I think it's a very dangerous practice for teams to not reward their homegrown talent because it sends a horrible message to the guys in the locker room, the young guys. You're never going to get what you are currently earning showing up and busting your ass every day from us. You're doing all this as an audition for someone else. And finally, I'm always reminded when we talk about the Cardinals and the possibility that they are extremely careful with money. I think back to a story that your former SI colleague, Mike Silver, posted years ago about how cheap the Cardinals were at the time. Now, Michael Bidwell wasn't fully in charge at the time. He was involved, but he wasn't fully in charge. Robert Griffith, the former safety, signs a contract. The team deducted from his signing bonus check the cost of the FedEx envelope that was used to send the check to Robert Griffith. And the other fact that Silver had in his story, on the player's day off, they padlocked the cooler with Gatorade in it. So if the players happened to be in the building, they didn't get any Gatorade for free. That's being extremely careful with money, Peter.
I like the way you word that. I mean, are you saying that they are the Bengals of the NFC? Is that what you're saying?
They used to be.
Florio?
Well, they're not as bad as they used to be, but you hit the nail on the head. If they're letting all these veteran players go, these guys who have earned another contract with them, if they're not getting them signed, there's only one way to look at it. And with the quarterback market right now, the spread that exists between Aaron Rodgers at the top and Matt Ryan at number 10, from $61.9 million per year, new money average, to $30. Where do these guys land? I think that's how the problems got started between Baker Mayfield and the Browns. They couldn't agree on where he lands between 30 and 45. It was easier last year. It was just 30 and 45. Where does he land? Where does Kyler Murray land? And I think Eric Burkhart has visions of Murray being near the top. And the Cardinals would say, yeah, but, he's tailed off down the stretch each of the last two seasons. Yeah, he's getting banged up a little bit. Yeah. And all it takes is an F them picks team to show up and say, we'll take him. We'll give you a bunch of draft picks for him, and we'll pay him what he wants. That's the one I've been watching. That's the one I've been waiting for. Kyler Murray to the Falcons. I've been waiting for that one, and all these other trades are happening. So I still think it could happen, Peter. It could happen today. Kyler, all these other trades is only going to make it more likely, not less likely to happen.
I wouldn't, you know what, Mike? I wouldn't be shocked. And I believe that this is a very, very, that the equilibrium of this case, of the seesaw, is basically really right down the middle of where I fall on this. Because part of me says that a guy who is as small as Kyler Murray is and gets hit as much as he gets hit, I'd be skeptical of paying him a lot of money too. Don't get me wrong. And I would also be skeptical because, the last 2 years, as you say, he has really struggled down the stretch. And this year in that playoff game, he had some of the worst moments you can see out of a quarterback. But the fact is, in 2019, when the Arizona Cardinals were coming off a 3-win season and had the first pick in the NFL draft, they chose a player, Kyler Murray, who in year 3 was the quarterback of the team that won 11 games. He won 9 and quarterbacked this team to the playoffs. Did not play well in the playoff game. We all saw it. But the fact is, he quarterbacked this team to the playoffs in year 3 with an increase of 8 wins on the team. And just remember one thing, that in week 10 of this season, say week 8 to 10, if you had taken an MVP vote in the first 2.5 months of this season, Kyler Murray would have gotten some votes. I'm not saying he would have won. He would have definitely gotten some votes. And so I look at this and just say, for all the fans who would say, oh, he doesn't deserve it, play on the contract, I get that. And I'm not saying absolutely categorically I think he should make $1 jillion. But I probably fall into the school that I think it's not right now with where the Cardinals have gotten in his first 3 years to make him play for $5.5 million, knowing that he's going to get hit a lot, potentially hurt. I would want, if I were Kyler Murray and I was his agent, I would want that contract to be adjusted now.
Oh, and I think the Cardinals will happily do it, but they're going to be closer to 30, and Burkhart's going to be closer to 60. And I don't know that the two circles of the Venn diagram are ever going to kiss. I think that's what it comes down to.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.